Rachel Dolezal, president of the National Asylum for the Advocacy of Cuckoo People, has been in the news for not keeping it real. And to American blacks, I really hope more of y'all are starting to see how you're being played by liberals as they're dragging the black identity issue into the gender identity issue.
I think what's happening. Propaganda.
I can see that this is rubbing some black people, even in the liberal camp, the wrong way. Like this discussion on CNN.
But at the time, were you identifying yourself as African American?
In that picture, during that time, no.
What a fascinating conversation. I mean, this is mind-blowing and, of course, provocative stuff. Isn't it interesting, Chris, who's giving me the hairy eyeball, to live in a time when people are identifying themselves. I think of Bruce Jenner with transgendered issues, and now her with transracial issues, as she calls them.
I think they're very different. I think they're very different.
I mean, but listen, they identify themselves as different than as we see them.
This is fascinating. This is so provocative. We must keep this going. But before I saw it as a problem to associate this trans race identity issue with the transgender identity issue, I've always taken exception to the racial identity issue. Even as a kid in elementary school, I hated that people would use skin color to define people's behavior, even though they only meant these things culturally. It always leads to it being viewed ethnically. Dolezal, from what I can see, identifies herself as culturally and ethnically black. As deluded as she is about her ethnic background, that's still easy to disagree with. We know she's not ethnically black. But now we got to deal with the idiocy of identifying her as black or not due to how one thinks and behaves. Well, what does being black look like? According to Bill Maher, a black person is supposed to carry himself like a thug. According to Michelle Obama, being black is to be a victim that has to see the world as white people itching to be mean to you. The sad part is that Dolezal thinks she has to identify as black in order to prove that she loves blacks. That's not love or racial harmony or even just plain human togetherness at all. If anything, what Dolezal is doing is totally bigoted and contradictory. I can't be white and embrace you. I can only be black to do that. If Dolezal was really interested in racial equality and human harmony, that would have been way better shown by her just being white. We're all supposed to just get along. But you being white would have spoken much greater volumes to present yourself as someone who embraces black people for the cause of racial harmony and equality. You're trying to present yourself as a black person who embraces other black people. What's the big deal in that? That's counterproductive to your cause. What you've shown is that white people can't embrace black people. You have to become black to embrace blacks. That does nothing to promote racial equality and harmony, which I thought the NAACP was supposed to do. All you've done is promote racial contradiction and confusion. Maybe this happened when her parents adopted children who were black. Maybe it's set forth in her mind that her parents would love her more if she were black. I don't know. But I do know that categorizing behavior by skin color is stupid. Like I've shared with y'all before, when I was a kid, other kids who were black said I sounded white because of the words I would use. I liked having a good vocabulary. I had a problem with their assertion because it said to me that talking like you got some sense is exclusive to white people or something. And are you trying to drag me into the self-insult of saying in order to sound black, I have to speak with a limited vocabulary and sound like I lack sense? This is one of those reasons that why to this very day that kids who are black aren't excelling in school. Because excelling in school means you're trying to be white. Kids don't want to be ostracized for that. Even Farrakhan teaches that nonsense, saying that if you're a black man getting educated in America, then the white man's got you. And to the black man who says, well, I've got a doctorate, then the white man's definitely got you. Which, on another note, is kind of true, being that these professors are mostly Democrats. But overall, crap like that is what keeps more blacks from getting ahead. I got accused of trying to be white because of the different kinds of music I'd listen to. It's like, dang, I gotta be shackled to what kind of music I listen to? I never thought of music as a black or a white thing, but a free thing. If you like the music, enjoy whatever music you listen to, whoever you are. That's part of the reason I have my band, 20 Pound Sledge, to sledge against this narrative of racial identity. Despite all this so-called progressive talk over diversity, they still can't help but segregate people into categories of black behavior and white behavior. Oh, and don't you dare be black and be a Republican. You're definitely trying to be white then. You have to vote Democrat if you're gonna vote as a black person. If you vote Republican as a black person, that's like being transpolitical. The American left is more okay with people changing their sex than blacks changing their party affiliation. I remember I almost fully got sucked into that racial identity crap though. I didn't want to be the odd man out and be the black sheep among black people. So I jumped on the wagon. I had a cousin come out to California from the Midwest. Country is all get out. She was happy, as far as I could tell, through elementary school, middle school, and into high school. She had a big smile all the time. She walked lively, smiling and waving at peers during passing period. She was doing good in school. Her favorite band was Duran Duran. And one day, I told her that she liked Duran Duran because she wants to be white. Not soon after that, her smile faded. Her pace slowed. She didn't walk with that happy and hopeful gait she used to have. She took to drugs and thugs, got knocked up, and so on. What I said to her was evil. I took her happiness for whiteness, which was wrong. Happiness is for everyone, but the nasty narrative says that black folks are supposed to be bitter. I took her attention to her studies as her trying to be white, because black folks are supposed to frown on such things. I talk about this stuff in my audiobook. I hope you'll get a copy. You can be well studied as a black person as long as your studies involve you using your education to make the case of why white people are guilty and making the argument that blacks are victims. You can speak as squarely as Brian Gumble in that case. So to this day, I don't yield to the destructive and shallow language of this person is trying to act black or white. I don't assign behavior to a skin color. It's assuming and just lazy. It's lazy and assuming like people who refer to nude as a color or flesh as a color. What color you got there? Oh, that's nude or flesh color. Is that right? Funny. Everybody is that color when they're nude. It's shallow. Just like using skin color to label cultural attributes is shallow. When people say that this color is nude or flesh, what you're saying is that white people are the standard color that qualifies as nude, and it thereby excludes the skin color of others. I'm not that hung up on it, but it does invite the stigma of supremacy in a culture overly sensitive about race. I know a lot of white people don't think of it that way or even thought of it at all, but that's what it is. But y'all, this stuff really ain't that hard if you really believe that people are people. Hey, maybe my band should do a sledged out version of that song. What? You're gonna cover a song by Depeche Mode? You must want to be white. There's urban cultures, there's no black culture. There's suburban cultures, there's no white culture. Anybody can be urban. Not everybody can be black. You need the DNA for that. No matter how you act, you cannot qualify or be disqualified as a black person against what your DNA says. Anybody can be suburban. Not everybody can be white. No matter how you act, you cannot qualify or be disqualified as a white person against what your DNA says. I'm Alfonso Rachel with ZoNation, and I really hope Dolezal comes to grips with her DNA. National Asylum for the Advocacy of Cuckoo People.